Section 2, Unit 1, Measurement Systems and Machine Tool Math Overview. Introduction, English and metric measurement, demonstrate math principles, explore typical math operations for machining. Measurement systems of the machining world. The English system, inches, standard in United States, fractions and decimal both in common. The metric system, or SI, used globally, uses decimals, not fractions. Machining mathematic concepts and operations. Fraction, part of a whole. In machining, inches often divide into 2, 4, 6, or 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, or 64 parts. 5/8 is equal to 5 of 8 parts. Convert improper fractions to mixed numbers and reduce to the lowest terms. Convert fractions to decimals. Divide numerator by denominator. Comparing fractions and ordering by size. Convert to equivalents, same denominator, and then compare the numerators to assesses the relevant size. Adding or subtracting fractions. Convert the two equivalents. Add or subtract numerators. Multiply fractions. Multiply numerators, multiply denominators. In dividing fractions, multiply first fraction by a reciprocal of second. To find the decimal equivalent of a fraction, find the fraction to the left column. Its decimal equivalent is in the column just to the right of the fraction. To find a fraction closest to a decimal, work in the opposite direction. Basic algebra. Order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which is P is parentheses. Perform all calculations inside the parentheses from innermost to outermost. This also applies to groupings created with a fraction bar or root sign. Then you got E for exponents. Perform all exponent operations next. M for multiplication, D for division, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So you would perform all multiplication and division from left to right, and then perform all addition, subtraction from left to right. So then you do solving for variables. Isolate the variable on one side of the equation by performing operations on both sides. Ratios and proportions. Ratio equals comparison between two numbers, and proportion is the two ratios equal to each other. English/metric and metric/English conversions. 1 inch equals 25.4 millimeters, and 1 millimeter equals 0.03937 inches. Use proportions to convert inches to millimeters or millimeters to inches. See text for methods. Basic geometry. Parallel lines, surfaces never intersect. Distance between them is a constant. Perpendicular lines or surfaces intersect at a square 90-degree angle. In circles, diameter equals the distance through the center. Radius equals the distance to any point of the circle. And then circumference, distance around periphery, calculated using pi. The distance between parallel lines is constant. In both illustrations, in A, both pairs of lines are parallel. Measurements across the parallel surface are equal. In this sketch of the block B, surfaces A and B are parallel, and so are C and D. What other pair of surfaces parallel? So, of course, this one and this one will be parallel, this one and this one, that one and that one, yada yada yada. Alright, perpendicular lines create a 90-degree corner. Lines RS and XY are perpendicular or square to each other. In this block, surfaces A and C are perpendicular or square to each other. So are A and F, as well as B and F. What other pairs of surfaces are perpendicular to the square to each other? So, same thing. A to C or E to C, as long as it creates a 90-degree angle. Diameter equals 2 times the radius, and radius equals diameter divided by 2. The circumference of a circle is the distance around its periphery and is calculated by either circumference equals 2 pi times radius or circumference equals pi times diameter. An arc is a portion of a circle that it is usually labeled by its endpoints. So you can see arc A to B, arc X and Y, and arc R and S. So it's part of a periphery. Circles, arc equals portion of a circle. Tangent equals touches arc only at one point. Angles created by dividing a circle 360 degrees. Angular measurement and conversions. Complementary and supplementary angles. Addition and subtraction of angles. Complementary and supplementary angles. So B is a complement of A. So if it equals 90 degrees, one will be the complement and one will be the supplement. Complement equals 90, supplement equals 180. Cartesian coordinates. 2 or 3-dimensional, like graphing. An origin is established by using x and y or x, y, and z values. Machining operation is located by moving positively or negatively from the origin. Polar coordinates, location identified by angle and straight line distance from origin. Angular zero is on the right side of origin. Basic trig. Math using triangles. Right angle trig equals one of the angles is 90 degrees. Sum of all angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. Basic trigonometry. Side of the angles of a right triangle. So it's a right triangle because one angle is at 90 degrees. Basic trigonometry continued. Pythagorean theorem equals a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the length of a squared, the length of b squared, and the length of c squared. Basic trig continued again. Trigonomic functions. So sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent equals opposite over hypotenuse.